So I'm Claire Black. I work for Moffat Town Hall Redevelopment Trust, and just like to start by thanking Sarah for the opportunity to talk to you today. If we could have the first slide, please, Sarah. So this is Moffat Town Hall, a beautiful building built in 1827. It's a Grade 2 listed building, and we're very fortunate that it is positioned right in the centre of the High Street in Moffat. The building is currently owned by Dumfries and Galloway Council, but the Town Hall Trust leased the building from the council. We have a 21-year lease, which is due to run out in 2032. At that point, we would be keen to do a community asset transfer. So Moffat Town Hall Redevelopment Trust was established in 2008 with the purpose of renovating the hall and running the hall for the benefit of the DG10 community. The board consists of 8 board members. We have 5 permanent part-time staff, and then a team of 10 0 hours contract staff. But really our greatest strength, I think, is our team of volunteers. We have around 50 volunteers on our books who undertake a whole range of volunteering, and I'll talk a bit about that later on. So our activities fall into 3 main categories: community activities, our commercial activities, and our resilience activities. And I'm going to start, as you can see, with community activity. The Harmony Club, that's held every Friday. It's open to anyone in DG10, but to be fair, it's mostly attended by elderly people. We have in the region of 50 people attending each week. And really the day starts with refreshments. They have a hot 2-course lunch and further refreshments afterwards. And then a range of entertainment. Some of it is in-house quizzes, bingo, raffles, that sort of thing, and in-house entertainment. And some of it is bought in, quite a lot of singing and music groups. From the Harmony Club, we developed the Wellbeing Club. What we began to notice was that the Harmony Club is very busy, very noisy, and some of the people attending, as they got older, needed to be somewhere a little bit quieter with more one-to-one attention. So we started the Wellbeing Club. That runs every Monday, and it's really focused on people with dementia or long-term illnesses. It follows the same pattern as the Harmony Club, so they have the same meals and so on, but the entertainment is tailored very much to the attendees' requirements. So we do still have entertainment, but it's more likely to be singing that they can join in. We have intergenerational work with them. We sometimes have young people coming in. We have things like crazy critters, so they get to look at and hold the animals. And we run that club in liaison with the local residential home. So they bring down a carer and some of their residents. Then on every Thursday, we have the Reading Club. That's a smaller group, about 12 people meet. It meets in the library, and that's a club for people with visual impairments. And the volunteers will read to them, usually the local paper, the Moffat News. They may read some poetry or some books, things that people have brought in that they would like to have read. And then there's a discussion about whatever's been in the paper or in the book or whatever. That's particularly tailored to them. It's worth mentioning that transport is provided for all of the clubs that we run. We use a local minibus, and our volunteers drive that and go around and pick people up and drop them home. Our next community activity, Town Hall Tots. This is relatively new for us. It started last winter. So we have, it's a parent toddler group, meets every Wednesday morning. We have about 50 families registered with us, but I'd say a regular attendance of about 30. And as you would imagine, they play games and do crafts and things. Meals on Wheels was another spin-off from the Harmony Club. What we found was that some people would ring in each week and maybe say that they'd had a fall and they'd hurt their foot or whatever, and they couldn't come out to the club. And so we would offer to deliver their lunch to them. So before COVID, we were probably delivering 3 or 4 meals a week, depending on how many people couldn't come to the club. During COVID, that number extended to about 100 meals every Monday and every Friday. And post-COVID, it's settled down to about 30. So we have 30 regular clients. We do charge for our Meals on Wheels, but really just enough to cover the costs. So we don't class it as one of our commercial activities. It's still classed as one of our community activities. And I suppose also because our meals are made by volunteers, we do employ a cook to come in and do the bulk of the cooking, but the serving, packaging, and the delivery of the meals is all undertaken by volunteers. We have a very thriving community shop, also run by volunteers. That's run now from the police station, which is a building right next to the town hall. And the community shop raises something in the region of £19,000 to £20,000 a year. We currently lease the police station from Police Scotland, but we are in conversations with them about doing a community asset transfer and making it a permanent home for our shop. The shop sells goods that are donated by people in the community. We're very lucky that we get some great donations. And then some of the money is used to support the hall and the community activity, but some of it is used to go back to the community. And it goes back in a couple of ways. Local groups can apply for grants, and the board will look at those and approve those. We've recently given £1,000 to the local children's football team for some goalposts. But we found after COVID that we were struggling financially because we hadn't been able to undertake any of our commercial activity, and we needed to keep some of the shop money to help us run the hall. So we started to make donations in kind, so free use of the hall for fundraisers, for coffee mornings and that sort of thing. So now the shop supports the community both in terms of financial grants, but also with donations in kind. And so far in 2023, we have made grants or donations to the tune of about £7,000. So it's great that the community make the donations, but then see some of that coming back out to support them. And then finally, our community events, they run through the year. So next week will be the Senior Citizens Christmas Party. It's free to any senior citizen living in the area. We had an Easter fun day for children. We had a Halloween fun day, and each year we host the P7 prom. P7 students wanted a prom, but the school felt that they weren't quite old enough, so they come to the hall and they have a disco and pizza. So a number of events like that run through the year. But I think for me, the most important thing to say is that with the exception of one paid carer who comes and works at our wellbeing club, all of the clubs are run by our volunteers. They're organised by the staff, and the entertainment and the minibus and things like that are booked by staff. But preparation of meals, serving of meals, running of the community shop, delivery of Meals on Wheels, all of that is done by our team of volunteers, which is great. So I thought rather than just talk to you, it'd be good to show you some photographs of that activity. So here is our Harmony Club Panto each year in the last Club of the Year. That's the Harmony Club Halloween event. We always try to tailor the lunches and the Harmony clubs and the Wellbeing Club to anything that's going on, so Easter and so on. So this was their Harmony, their Halloween one, and this is the Wellbeing Club when we had the animals in. So as you can see, a snake round the neck of those two people. And I'm really not sure what that animal in the bag is. But anyway, that's the Wellbeing Club. So our commercial events, I guess the bread and butter one is regular hall hire. Pre-COVID, we had things like short mat bowling, blood transfusion service. All of those, obviously, all of the hall hire stopped during COVID. And since then, it's picked up again, but in a different way. So we now have Pilates, Tai Chi, kickboxing, but then also ad hoc events, coffee mornings and so on, as I mentioned earlier, MSP surgeries, that sort of thing. And then we have events that we will run for people. So we are now registered as a wedding venue, and we do wedding packages. We have children's party packages, and then obviously the hall can be hired for any form of family event that the people in the town want. Over recent years, as we've developed our packages, we have invested in things such as chair covers, tie backs, bunting, whatever, to make the events more professional. But we've also tried very hard to make sure that our packages cover a range of budgets. So as an example, our most expensive wedding package for 70 people is £1,200. And our packages for weddings start at £375 to hire the hall, and then just £2.50 a head to have chairs and tables put out. So with everything that we do, weddings, parties, and so on, we try very hard to make sure that they are as inclusive as possible. The other issue that we're quite pleased of with our commercial offering is that Moffat is, it's only 55 miles from Glasgow and Edinburgh, it's 25 from Dumfries and 13 from Lockerbie, but there is very little within the town itself to offer for events. So families who might want to take their child to soft play or something like that for a birthday party have to travel some distance to do that. So what we've tried to do is offer packages that fill that gap whilst remaining cost effective for the families concerned. And again, I've just added in some photos of the commercial stuff. So this is last year's school prom for the seniors. They held that here, and a Halloween event, which was actually also a 40th birthday party. So the hollowed out pumpkins became ice bowls to have Prosecco in. These are our children's parties. The one that's mostly white was a first birthday party and a naming ceremony. And the more colourful one is one of our sort of routine children's parties. And then I apologise, photos are a bit dark. One is set up ready for a wedding, and the other one is our New Year's Eve ceilidh, which actually I've put the photograph in under commercial, but it is something that we run as a fundraiser, and it usually raises about £1,000, which goes to pay for the senior citizens Christmas party. Thanks, Sarah. And then the third area that I mentioned is resilience. We became the resilience hub for Moffat at the start of COVID. The hub previously had been at the Proudfoot Institute, and that worked very well. But when COVID hit, we were best placed to help the town get through that. So, and I think what helped us was that we already had a large number of volunteers on our books. We already had accounts with people like bookers and other food providers, so we were well placed to start to bulk buy things that people might need. So that was a great help. And we also knew a lot of the more vulnerable people in the town because of our clubs. So within 24 hours, we'd done a leaflet drop to every property in the town. And the services that we were offered were, as I mentioned earlier, Meals on Wheels. We did shopping and prescription collection and delivery across the town, although we did it in the end go as far as Langham, which is 40 miles away, and down to Lockerbie, but mostly focused on Moffat. We delivered food parcels across the area. telephone befriending for people living in isolation. The gift bags was something that we did for people living alone. That was a fortnightly thing that was delivered by our volunteers. And it was really just, well, a bag with some home baking in it and things like quizzes, pictures to colour in, pencils, chair exercises, and a newsletter just to try and help people who didn't have very much contact. And then we had a lot of books and puzzles in the community shop. So we sanitized all of those and started a process where we could deliver those to people and then collect them, sanitize them, isolate them, and then send them out to somebody else. And that was quite a popular service. Since COVID, all of those activities have stopped except for the Meals on Wheels and also the food parcels. We keep a few food parcels here for individuals that may come in, but most of them now are kept at the school, and we work with the school to make sure that the food parcels go to vulnerable families. And one of the people that works at the school is now a board member on our board. The other thing that we've done with food parcels now is that if we get funding, we tend to buy vouchers for the local butchers and the fruit and veg shop and so on, so that people have more choice and can go and buy what they want. So we continue to be the resilience hub for the area, and we are now working with consultants, on the Scottish Government's project of rebooting resilience. They wanted to look at how resilience was operating across Scotland, and so they're working with Falkirk, who represent urban resilience teams. We are representing the rural resilience teams and looking at ways to improve resilience across Scotland. But other than that, our volunteers also do gritting within the town when we have icy days, and just generally we are geared up for any emergencies that may happen. Thanks, Sarah. So just briefly want to talk about the benefits that we think we bring to the town. And first and foremost, our club members who certainly benefit from regular contact with others. We do little surveys, and we interview some of the club members, partly to find out what they'd like to see at the club and any improvements we could make, but also to get feedback from the benefits. And we have also had feedback from other service providers, such as GPs, who say that they are seeing fewer people needing to go and make use of their services because they are feeling happier and more self-confident from coming out and meeting with others on a regular basis. Our Wellbeing Club certainly brings benefits to family carers. A lot of the people that come to the club are cared for at home by a partner or a child or whatever, and having them at the club on a Monday for about 4 hours means that those carers get some time to themselves and to do their own things. Our volunteers benefit greatly. We do give them training. They have training in a range of things: first aid, kitchen health and hygiene, food preparation, but also things like dementia friend and so on. But a lot of our volunteers live alone and enjoy coming in, being part of a team, and do report that they feel more self-worth from coming out and helping others. And we also do some social things with them. We have an annual volunteers party. So, and other get-togethers, there'll be the shop volunteers Christmas meal and things like that. So a chance for them to socialise with others as well. Our employees, there's only about 2,500 people in Moffat and not that many employment opportunities. So our employees obviously gain from being able to work with us. Initially, our commercial activity was run by volunteers, just as we found our feet and tested the water. But for about the last 18 months now, we have had a group of people who come in and help run our events on an ad hoc basis on 0 hours contracts. So that's been great, being able to extend those employment opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, we work very closely with Moffat Academy, and we offer work experience to the young people there, both in terms of the sort of formal work experience each summer, but also volunteering opportunities. So we have young people that come in and help at the clubs if they're interested in going into a caring profession. We currently have two lads that come in on a Thursday and help us with our IT. And then the wider community, I've already mentioned that we try and tailor all of our packages and events to make sure that people can get local events at a low cost. But also, I think the community benefit from improvements to the hall. And that sort of links in with Dumfries and Galloway Council as well. We have a great relationship with the council and we have a very favourable lease. So we're very lucky in that way. But since we have had that lease, as a charity, we have applied to wind farms and we have raised funds to make improvements to the hall. So over the last few years, we have changed all the lighting to LED. We have got funding to renew the boilers and to build a new boiler house. Dumfries and Galloway Council did contribute to that, but we paid quite a bit of it from our own funds and 50% of it came from the wind farm. And we have also, from wind farm funding, been able to rip out all of the old toilets, replace them all, and add in a changing places toilet with a hoist, a shower and a full adult changing bed. So that's a great facility for the town. So although the council, as I say, give us a very favourable lease, we have improved the building and part of that is to get us ready for the community asset transfer. Thanks, Sarah. And then very briefly, what next? Lots of options and opportunities open to us. But like with any other organisation, a few things to be wary of as well. The large church in the town has recently had all of the pews removed, so it's now a very large venue, and quite understandably that has an impact on what we can offer. But we're very lucky in that the town hall is seen as the centre of the town. It is literally in the centre of the town, and a lot of people still look towards us as somewhere to hold family events. So we're lucky in that way. And we're working very closely with the church to make sure that we are working together rather than competing with each other. As I mentioned earlier, we started conversations about community asset transfer of the police station. A big thing that we face at the moment is that the ceiling in our main hall needs to be, well, if not repaired, replaced, or not replaced, repaired. And it has to be like for like because it's a grade 2 listed building. So that's going to be a large job. And whilst we're doing that, the hall, the floor also needs some repairs. So we'll be looking to get that done as well. We want to make wider use of the library. The library currently is not part of our lease, but we are talking to the council about taking it on, and they're very positive about that. And we have had some plans drawn up to have some new shelving and cupboards put in so that the library would look like a library when it needed to, but that we could close it off and use it for things like small weddings and events when the library wasn't open. The library is currently run by our volunteers, so probably should have mentioned that as another benefit to the council, that where we work closely, we are now taking on some activities for the council, and running the library for them is one of them. Health and social care is something that we feel is failing slightly in parts of Moffat. And so we've started conversations with the council about whether there are some areas that we can fill for them and some support that we can provide. And finally, we don't have a tourist information centre in the town, and we're looking at whether we could put that into the library or into the police station, again, run with volunteers, but as something to help the town. And I think that's it. Thank you.